Hey all, boardgamerants here. We'll find everything solo tabletop gaming and more. Here's just a quick playthrough of Renegade. This I just did a review for. Here's where you can kind of see how it all plays out. One cycle, one round, if you will. Let's check it. So let's go ahead. We can follow the sequence of play right up here. You got the intel phase, which basically just reminds you to go over here and make sure that you're doing these things. Like this up here was the setup. So I placed one spark all over the place. On Faith, on purple server. Then place one spark on each player's access point. Did that. I'm the only player. If you were playing others, you can play up to 4 with this. I'm just playing solo. And the other thing to keep in mind is down here, it says during your start of turn step, add one spark to your avatar's position. Well, here I am, we checked that intel phase and now it is start of turn step. So I get to, lucky me, add one spark to my avatar's partition. So the partitions are just these numbered hexes. So this is a partition, that's number 4 partition. This is number 5. And so that's how you can kind of keep track of where you're supposed to put stuff. So not good. I've got 2 sparks already on my partition. Then it says restock hack shack shop. Well, it's already stocked up. New spark step. You get to skip this on the very, very first turn. So we get to skip that. And then command actions step. So that's where all the fun begins. That's where you get to take a look at your hand and you get to figure out what you're going to do. So we're going to start hacking in. And we're particularly good at modifying. So you can remember, you can look over here and you can be like, you can get lost in all these cool words and this just looks like a mess. But in general, I'm just a color-coded kind of guy. I know blues help me move around. I know yellows help me convert sparks into contaminants. I know that greens allow me to push stuff around on the servers. And I know that reds allow me to, that's the easiest color, that allows me to destroy sparks, attack them. And you can try and remember what all the, yellows, the yellow circle contaminants are replicants, and then the squares are replicators, and the greens are uplinks, and then you've got neural hubs, and if you're really into all that, you can, but me, nah, I'm just like blue moves, red attacks, yellow modifies, and green pushes stuff around. So over here we've got, so now we get to start typing in some commands, or however you want to think about it. Now first, we can upgrade at any time. So here's our hack shack, and it always comes out with 4 cards. So, and on the top right are the costs. Well, let's see here. So I would pay these. This is how I pay those costs. And I can see that I can get an emit EMT, cost me 2 reds. Well, these purples are basically wild. I can use them as any color. So I can use this as a red, and I can say, well, that's a red. And I can pay the sabotage card. And basically I have to get rid of it. And I'll just put it face down like that to purchase this, and it goes right into your hand. And so now it's immediately usable, and it's a little bit stronger because you look at it. I basically used sabotage to buy this emit EMP, and this only had these commands available. This one has the same commands available, but also a little extra stuff I get to do. So nice little upgrade there. We've got over here we got data steal. Well, for 1 blue, I can purchase data shift, and then I'll have a card that has 2 blues, or I can use its execute action. So again, we're gonna basically trash that to buy data shift. And now we got some yellow cards up here. We don't really have any yellow commands. We could use these as yellow commands to purchase dualities, but I don't think we'll do that for now. So now we're just going to work with what we got, and you get to immediately work with your upgraded stuff, which is kind of fun. So let's see here. What am I trying to do? Well, I need to start converting these sparks over into to my side, into contaminants. So in order to do that, and I also want to try to keep in mind my goal here, each Renegade's home server, partition number 1, so that would be right here, must contain 4 different colored contaminants. And so if I want to pass this and get the victory points for it, well, So I've already got a blue there. I just need a red and a green and a yellow. So so that's a plan there that I need to keep in mind, but I also don't want these sparks blowing up. As soon as there's a third spark on here, the sparks go away and they're replaced with this big bad guy. That's a guardian, and guardians are super hard to get rid of. And while there's sparks or any kind of countermeasures, I can't really upload anything, so I'm kind of stuck here. So what I'm gonna have to do is probably jump off or move some stuff around so that I can come back and zap those sparks. So and down here, I'm not going to worry too much about what's going on down here in purple yet. So how to get rid of those sparks. Let's see here also. This card is used to initiate an effect action, and you succeed, delete all sparks. Okay, so that's kind of a nice thing, but I have to have at least one red spark. Okay, or execute instead to move up to 3 contaminants from any adjacent partition or partitions to yours. Okay, well, so what I can do is I can, first of all, I can use this guy right here, bypass. This, again, remember, green is push. Basically allows me over here to shift and push away things, either contaminants or sparks. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this to push this spark off of my partition. Because now I'm getting closer to being able to it's easier to handle 1 than 2 sparks. Now, well, what we could do is, let's see here, move, well, we could push again, just so that we can get that off. But what we could also do is start keeping in mind that we're trying to, so now I can use any combo of this. So I'm going to ignore the blue. I'm going to use this purple as a green again, and I'm going to push this contaminant right over there. Or I'm sorry, that is a spark. So I just wanted to clear my area so that I can actually get to work here. And now I can, this card is used to initiate an effect action, and you succeed, delete all sparks from one partition. Well, guess we should have thought this through. Now, one thing too I can also do is use all 3 cards, flip them over, and use it as any one command, any color one command. And I would just discard them. But I don't think I want to do that. I think at least now that I got stuff cleared off, I can use these. So part of what I can do now is upload. And I just have to use 3 of the same colored commands to upload. Now I can upload because there's no more sparks on there. I can upload a blue. I've got 1 extra blue command that doesn't really do me any good, but I'm going to upload a blue. So I'm going to upload this blue there. And then lastly, you can always hold on. So I can go ahead and end my turn, and I can always hold on to 1 card at the end and then draw back up to 5. So I think that's what I'm going to do so replenish hand step. Right up there, replenish hand, and then end of turn. So I'm going to replenish my hand. I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3. Remember, this is the one that I saved, so I still get to draw 4, 5. Okay, so here's my hand. Pretty powerful. Now I got 6, and holy moly, look at all these reds. I'm looking to bust up some sparks here, perhaps. And I do need a red, and I do need a green to hopefully end up on partition number 1 so that I can complete that countermeasure objective. So we've replenished our hand. Now we're at the end of turn step. Nothing happens at the end of the turn, and some cards tell you, oh, something happens at the end of the turn, but nothing does. So we go back up to start of turn step. Well, unfortunately, during your start of turn step, add 1 spark to your avatar's partition. So gall darn it, Alpha Moby, it knows I'm here and just keeps following me around. Oh, I haven't moved, but it's just going to continue to track my avatar and throw sparks at it. So restock the Hack Shack. So now we go over here. We're going to restock this. Holy moly, look at all that duality. Ooh, Project Consciousness. Now, my understanding is this is an errata. There's supposed to be 3 green symbols to be able to purchase Project Consciousness. So anyway, I am done. Now it says new spark step. Now I said I got to skip that the first time, and I did. But this is where you would have to refer to your particular SMC you're battling. And it says in the copper cycle, it has a little, it'll have a dot, 1 or none or 2 or whatever, representing how many times you're supposed to roll, whoops, supposed to roll these dice and add a spark. So like I'd have to roll this, and I would have to add a spark on the green server number 5 partition. So I have to go over here and boop. However many dots are there is how many times you'd have to roll and add a spark. But this is the easy guy, Alpha Moby. So in the first cycle, don't even have to do that. So new spark step doesn't even happen. And now it's command action step. So here we are back in it. And I am going to now, so I've got this dumb spark, part of the rules. I can't upload anything while there's a spark there. So I need to either move off or, and so what I want to do, again, what I'm trying to do is get a red, a blue, a yellow, and a green there. So first of all, what I could do is I want to look and see if I can purchase anything. Well, I can use this interrupt. I can use its yellow command to purchase a duality. So I will, because it's always worth it, you know, especially when you're playing solo, you know, you just buy up everything, you try and upgrade. And so I've got duality. Now this allows me to flip one contaminant on my partition. And basically these are all double-sided. So the blues on the backside are greens, and on the yellows are the backside are reds. So that's a handy way of maybe getting colors just what you want in colors. So we're going to keep that one in mind, aren't we? Because it's going to be pretty easy for us to upload a red, a virus, because we've got so many cards here that are red. So what we're going to do is we need to move. We need to move and get off this because we can't upload anything while this spark's here. And I don't really want to push it. So we don't have any blues though. No blues. Blues help us move. However, we've got this one, emit EMT, which is a little bit of a waste, but at least it's going to allow us to move with that. Purple, again, can be used as any color. We're going to discard that. And we're going to move one space right over there. And when we move, we can also, there's part of the rules is you can take over 3 contaminants of any color. They all have to be the same color with you. You can't move with sparks, but I could have taken, instead of the yellows, I could have taken these 2 blues with me. But I really want that yellow, or wait, maybe I don't want the yellow. Maybe I do want to just take, so I couldn't take a blue, and I couldn't take all these because they all have to be the same color. So I can either take the 2 blues or the yellow, and I think I want to take the blue because I've got a card that allow me to flip this over, right? And whatever, I'm going to take the yellow. So take the yellow. We're going to leave the blues here. Actually, it's kind of a bad thing too, because at the end, if there's any sparks, they'll wipe out my my contaminant. So so here I am. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. We'll take the blues, and now what we're going to do is go over here, and we're going to first of all use duality to instead of using this little yellow command, I can instead flip one contaminant on my partition, alternate it to its other type. So I'm going to discard this, and I am going to flip over this, and now it is a green. So now I've got 2 blues and a green, but now I am all alone on that partition. There's no sparks trying to protect it. So I can use Infiltrate and Renegade Apprentice. Use these combined to create three of a kind, which allows me to upload that same colored contaminant. Boom, now I've got a red. Now we are going to, well, we're going to end up losing this yellow because, well, I'll show you why. But, well, maybe, yeah. Trying to figure out what I, because if I could move back over there, which I can't, this comes in handy. And, you know what? Let's say, so I did all that. I did all that stuff, but let's say before I moved over there, and I was over here, before I moved all the blues, so those blues would take me over here, I was over here like this. Now, what I could have done is used my diversion these commands, it says right here, modify. So I got to use the yellow command plus one of any colored command. And there has to be more yellow contaminants than sparks to be able to convert. So while I was here, and this one, you know, these blues were over here, but that doesn't really matter. While I was here, I still had this card. I could have used this because once per player turn, your avatar counts as a replicant. So she counts as, she's just like having an extra yellow there. And then in that case, I would be able to modify because there would be more yellow contaminants. She counts as a yellow contaminant once per turn. So I could have used this to initiate the modify command and then changed that spark into a yellow token. So I would have discarded this and basically swapped out this spark with a yellow. There we go. Now I would have moved over and been left over with this card right here. And I am done. So we take a look back. Can't really do anything with this at the moment, so we're just going to hold on to it. We can always hold on to one card at the end of a turn. We're going to replenish our hand. So here it is. This is our last 5 cards. There they all are. And now, replenished hand step, end of turn step is, there is nothing that happens on your turn. So we go back here, start of turn step. Oh man, again. During start of turn, add 1 spark. This thing just chasing me around. There's that spark. And then restock the Hack Shack. Well, we didn't really purchase too much, so there's, ooh, those are nice. Iteration, very nice. Purples are good. New spark step. Well, because we're still in this first cycle, no new sparks occur. And it's time to play. So we want to complete this at the end of it. And this is our last turn in this cycle. So if we don't accomplish this, we don't get the victory points for it. We still survive, but we don't get the victory points for it. So I want to, and I have to get a yellow on here. And these blues or greens there, but I have yellows right here. Now I can't upload a yellow because I got a spark there. And if that spark wasn't there, I could just upload a yellow. Now I could just push this spark right off. And so that's what I'm going to do, I think. Well, first of all, let's take a look. First of all, let's upgrade. So I want project consciousness. This, I know, again, errata. It's supposed to have 3 greens. So I'm going to spend my 3 greens here, and plus 1 wild as a little extra, to buy project consciousness. Now, again, I can only ever have 15 cards in my hand. So one of these is going to get discarded, and I'm going to keep the one with the wild on it. And one of these gets thrown away. I'm going to trash that, and I get to immediately put project consciousness. Very strong, very powerful. So now what I get to do is let's just go ahead and push. That's a big waste of that, isn't it? Yeah, let's go ahead and use Trickery Master, and we'll use this purple as a green. In a green, again, shift. I can use the shift command and push away a spark. So I'm going to just push this spark. Get out of here. There we are. Now I can upload. And with an upload, I can use diversion and interrupt. There's 3 of a kind. Discard these. I can upload this yellow. Ta-da! We've got all the colors on partition 1. Just like we wanted. And now we can even, we got some more fun stuff we could do here, but ultimately I'll just use this to upload a green, because I can use a green and then make this a green and a green. I'm gonna upload a green token. You can never have more than 3 of the same color on a partition. And then infiltrate, again, I don't really do much with that. You know, I could have, instead of getting a green, I could have, for instance, used these 2 plus these reds and gotten 3 of a kind, well, before reds, and uploaded a virus. So why don't I do that? And that way I can just use everything. Instead of uploading a green, upload a virus, and that way later on I can maybe move these viruses over and start knocking out sparks. Attacking. So we're at the end of the command action step. Replenish hand. Well, there is no more hand to replenish. That's my draw pile. End. So end of turn step, nothing happens there. So countermeasures phase. The SMC's revenge step. So first of all, virus battle segment. So here, if there were any sparks with reds, if there are any sparks that had reds with them, there would be a battle. So you didn't even get to see a battle. Like what would have happened? Like let's say this was right here. Then there would have been a battle, and I would have had to roll these dice. The red one represents me. The black one represents the bad guy, the sparks. I've rolled, and as long as the sum of my die with the tokens, the red tokens I have, is greater than the sum of black die with the 1 spark, I win. If I equal to or less than, I lose. So here we go. If there had been a battle, this is what would have happened. I would have 5, 6, 7 against his 3, 4. I would have won, and I would have been able to remove that spark. But if it had been, say I'd rolled a 2, well then, oops, then I wouldn't have won, and it would have been a tie, and the countermeasures always win in a tie. So I would have had to remove a red spark. But that's very generically how. Then the battles are a little bit more complicated that when you actually are initiating the command as opposed to just responding to an attack, a virus battle segment. So, but that wasn't the case. So these reds were here. Contaminants, if any, if there were any countermeasures out and there were contaminants on them, they would immediately delete them. And but that wasn't the case. So. So nothing gets deleted, and then delete installation segment. That's if there were these installations, they would do their deleting if there was any contaminants on them. So anyway, pretty quiet. We managed to kind of hide ourselves off on our own petitions here, and we got sparks all around us, but they haven't managed to delete anything yet. And then success or failure step. So that's where you look at this. Goal, each Renegade's home server's partition. Number 1, must contain 4 different colored contaminants. We did it. We got a yellow, green, red, blue. So we get to flip this over, and there's 2 different sides. There's a success side and a fail side. So we get to do the success side. It says add 1 installation to anywhere on Justice, blue, or Freedom, green. So that means those are the servers. So add 1 installation anywhere. So I'm going to take, these are pretty strong, and I won't explain why, but these are pretty darn strong, and I can add it anywhere on Justice or Freedom. So anywhere on green or blue, we'll go ahead and we're going to toss it right there, because now it's really hard to see. Okay, anyway, yeah, we'll put it there. Okay, and so that is an awesome thing to have. If my avatar's here, I can basically take an action anywhere on the green server as if I was there. I ghost. Anyway, it's pretty awesome. So then now we have to move the sparks, and this is how the computer basically gets sparks together to clump up and create guardians, which are tougher. And you lose the game if you ever are trying to add a spark or a flare. Those are card flares, or firewalls or guardians. If you ever have to add a token and it's not available, so there's only 5 guardians and then a bunch of these sparks. If you ever have to add one or the other and you can't, you lose. The computer, the SMC has gotten enough countermeasures out to thwart your plans. So that's how you lose. And so this says, so purple. So we look at the purple server and we look at the highest numbered purple partition, which is 6, and we move all sparks on it down. So this goes down to here. And then we look over on red. In red, there are no sparks on red. So we look at blue. So the highest blue, there's nothing on blue. And on yellow, it's saying, so on the lowest partition that has sparks, move it up. So this is 4, this is 3. So 3 moves up to 4. And if ever there's 3 sparks on one partition, you immediately get rid of those and you add a big bad guardian. So that's what it's trying to do, is clump up and get its guardians out there. And we can go back over here, move sparks, scoring token step. I was successful. I take this. It's going to be worth 25 points to me at the end of the game. And then refresh phase, end of game step. We're not at the end of the game. We just finished the first cycle. New deal step. So now I'd get to take all my cards and all the upgrades and I'd shuffle them all together. That'd be my new deck. Hack Shack purge step. I basically would get rid of all these and I would put out 4 new in the Hack Shack. So these are discarded and would be the 4 available to the Hack Shack, and then I would go back up and to the intel phase. This is where I would want to, so this has been accomplished. I can discard that. We are now in the silver cycle and I get to look at that and figure out what it needs me to do in order to successfully complete that. And I do that for the silver cycle and the gold cycle. And if I survive, and if I've never had to, if I've always been able to put a token on when it's required, I'd win. And then you can score if you care to. Ta-da! There you have it. So, hopefully that gives you an idea of gameplay. Since I've done this, I've played many more times, and you really get a sense as I'm watching through this, just all the different moves I could have done and didn't. You know, it's one thing when you're trying to talk and think at the same time, and it's another when you're just in it or watching it and observing. And of course, there's so many little things that can be done here. This game is, there's a lot to grow into here with this game. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later on Board Game Rants. I'm out.